Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshvari Mata ki jai, Bhole Baba ki jai. We'll continue on now with chapter 46 from book 9 of the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Narada said, O thou, the foremost of the knowers of the Vedas, I have heard from you the anecdote of many Devis. Now I want to hear the lives of other Devis, also kindly describe. Narayana said, O best of the Brahmanas, the lives and glorious deeds of the Devis are described separately. Now say which lives you want to hear. Nanda said, O Lord, Shastati, Mangalachandi, and Manasa are the part of Prakriti. Now I want to hear the lives of them. Narayana said, O child, the sixth part of Prakriti is named Sasti. The Devi Sasti is the presiding deity of infants and children. She is the Maya of Vishnu, and she bestows sons to all. She is one of the 16 Markas. She is known by the name of Devasena. She performs vratas, vows. She is the chaste and dearest wife of Skanda. She decides on the longevity of children and is always engaged in their preservation, so much so that this Siddha Yogini always keeps the children on her side. O best of Brahmanas, I will now talk about the method of worshipping this Devi and the history about her bestowing children that I heard from Dharma Deva. Manu had one son, Priyavrata. He was a great Yogendra and remained in practicing austerities, so he was not inclined to have any wife. At last, by the effort and request of Brahma, he got himself married, but many days passed and he could not see the face of a son. Then Maharishi Kasyapa became his priest in the Putrasti sacrifice, one to get a son. And when the sacrifice was over, he gave the sacrificial offerings called charu to his wife Malini. On eating the charu, the wife Malini became pregnant. For 12 Deva years, she held the womb. After 12 years, she delivered a fully developed son of a golden color, but the son was lifeless and his 2 eyeballs were upset. At this, the friends' wives became very sorry and began to weep. The mother of the child became so sorrowful that she became senseless. O Muni, the king himself took the son on his breast and went to the burning ground. There, with his child on his breast, he began to cry aloud. Rather, he got himself ready to quit his own life than leave his sons away from his breast. At this time, he saw in the space overhead an aerial car, white as crystal, made of excellent jewels, coming towards him. On that car was seated Siddha Yogini, very beautiful, of a lovely appearance, of a color like that of white kampakas, always youthful, smiling, adorned with jewel ornaments, ever gracious to show favor to her devotees. On seeing her, the king placed the child from his breast on the ground and began to worship her and chant hymns to her with great love and devotion. And he then asked that peaceful lady, the wife of Skanda, who was shining like a summer sun, O beautiful, who art thou? Whose wife art thou? And whose daughter art thou? From thy appearance it seems that you are fortunate and respected amongst the females. O Narada, in ancient times when the deities dispossessed the devas of their positions, this lady was elected as a general and got victory for the devas. Hence she was known as Devasena. Hearing the words of the king, Devasena, who fought for the devas and was all good to the whole world, said, O king, I am the mind-born daughter of Brahma. My name is Devasena. The Creator before created me out of his mind and made me over to the hands of Skanda. Amongst the Matkas, I am known as Sasti. the wife of Skanda. I am the sixth part of Prakriti, hence I am named Sasti. I give sons to those who have no sons, wives to those who have no wives, wealth to the poor, and I give works to those who are workers. Happiness, pain, fear, sorrow, joy, good, and wealth, and adversity, all are the fruits of karmas. As a result of one karmas, people get lots of sons, and it is due to the results of one's karma again that people are denuded of all the issues of their family. As a result of karma, the people get dead sons, and as a result of karma, the people get long lives. All enjoy the fruits of their karmas, whether they will be well qualified or deformed, or whether they have many wives, or whether they have no wife. Whether they be beautiful, religious, diseased, it is all through karmas. Disease comes out of their karmas. Again, they get cured by their karmas. So, O king, it is stated in the Vedas that karma is the most powerful of all. Thus saying, Devasena took the dead child on her lap, and by the wisdom early made the child alive. The king saw the child of a golden color, got back his life, and began to smile. Thus bidding goodbye to the king, Devasena took the child and became ready to depart. At this, the king's palate and throat got dry, and he began again to chant hymns to her. The Devi then addressed the king and said, O king, all that is stated in the Vedas is made up of karmas. You are the son of Swayambhuva Manu and the lord of the three worlds. You better promulgate my worship in the three worlds, and you yourself worship me. Then I will give you your beautiful son, the lotus of your family. Your son, born in part of Narayana, will be famous by the name of Suvrata. He will be well qualified, a great literary man, about to remember his conditions in his former lives, the best of yogis. Performer of 100 yagas, the best of all, bowed down to by the Ksatras, strong as one lakh, powerful elephants, wealthy, fortunate, pure, learned, and bestower of fruits of the ascetics, renowned and bestowed of wealth. Thus saying, Devasena gave the child to the king. When the king promised that he would promulgate her worship, the Devi granted his boons and went up to the heavens. The king, too, becoming very glad and surrounded by his ministers, returned to his own abode and informed all about his son. The ladies of the house became highly delighted when they heard everything. On the occasions of the son's getting back his life, the king performed everywhere auspicious ceremonies. The worship of Sasti Devi commenced. Wealth was bestowed to the Brahmins. Since then, on every 6th day of the bright fourth moon in every month, great festivals in honor of Sasti Devi began to be celebrated. Since then, throughout the kingdom, on every 6th day after the birth of a child in the lying-in chamber, Sasti Devi began to be worshipped. On the 21st day, the auspicious moment, also at the ceremony of giving rice to a child for the first time, when 6 months old, and on all other auspicious ceremonies of the children, Sasti Devi is worshipped, and it was made extant. And the king himself performed those worships with great care and according to the due rules. Now I will tell you about the dhyanam and the method of worship and stotras, as I heard from Dharmadeva here. He has said, in a salagrama stone, in a jar on the roof of the rooms, or making an image of Sasti Devi, the 6th part of Prakriti, and installing it, one should worship the Devi. The dhyanam is this. O Devasena, thou art the bestower of good sons, the giver of good luck. Thou art mercy and kindness, and the progenitor of the world. The colors It is bright like that of the white kampaka flowers. Thou art decked with jewel ornaments. Thou art pure and the highest and best, Devi. Obeisance to thee, I meditate on thee. Thus meditating, the worshipper should place flowers on his own head. Then again, meditating and uttering the principal mantra, one is to offer padya, water for washing feet, archmania, scent, flowers, dew, lights, etc. Offerings of food and best roots and fruits, and one should worship thus with various things, Sasti Devi. Om Hrim Sasti Devi Swaha is the principal mantra of her. This great mantra of 8 letters a man should repeat as his strength allows. After the japam, the worshipper should chant hymns with devotion and undivided attention, and then bow down. The hymn of Sasti Devi, as per Samad Veda, is very beautiful and sun-bestowing. The lotus-born Brahma has said, if one repeats this 8-lettered mantra 1,00,000 times, one gets certainly a good son. O best of Munis, now I'm going to say the auspicious stota of Sasti Devi, as composed by Priyavrata here. One's desires are fulfilled when one repeats this sacred stota. Thus the king said, O Devi, Devasena, I bow down to thee, O great Devi, obeisance to thee. Thou art the bestower of cities. Thou art peaceful, obeisance to thee. Thou art the bestower of good. Thou art Devasena. Thou art Sasti Devi. I bow down to thee. Thou grantest boons to persons. Thou bestowest sons and wealth to men. So obeisance to thee. Thou givest happiness and moksha. Thou art Sati Devi. I bow down to thee. Thou thyself art city, so I bow down to thee. Thou art the 6th part of the creation. Thou art Siddha Yogini, so I bow down to thee. Thou art the essence. Thou art Shraddha. Thou art the highest Devi. So I bow down again and again to thee. Thou art the presiding deity, Sasti Devi, of the children. I bow down to thee. Thou grantest good. Thou thyself art good, and thou bestowest the fruits of all karmas. O Devi, thou showest thy form to thy devotees. I bow down to thee. Thou art Suddha Sattva and resplendent and respected by all the persons in all their actions. Thou art the wife of Skanda. All worship thee, O Sasti Devi. Thou didst save the Devas, so obeisance to thee. Thou hast no envy, no anger, so obeisance to thee. O Sir Bari, give me wealth, give me dear things, give me sons, give me respect from all persons, give me victory, slay my enemies. O Maheshwari, give me dharma, give me name and fame. I bow down again and again to Sasti Devi. O Sasti Devi, worshipped reverently by all, I give my lands, give my subjects, give my learning, have welfare for me. I bow down again and again to thee. O Narada, thus praising the Devi, the king got a son, renowned and ruling over a great kingdom through the favor of Sasti Devi. If any man that has no son hears this stota, for 1 year with undivided attention, he gets easily an excellent son, having a long life. If one worships for 1 year with devotion this Devasena and hears this stota, even the more barren woman become freed from all her sins and gets a son. Through the grace of Sasti Devi, that son becomes a hero, well qualified, literate, renowned, and long-lived. If any woman who has only a single child or delivers a dead child hears this with devotion for 1 year, she gets easily, through the Devi's grace, a good son. If the father and mother both hear with devotion this story during the period of the child's illness, then the child becomes cured by the grace of the Devi. Here ends the 46th chapter of the 9th book on the anecdote of Sati Devi in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshwari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.